Sleep is the pillar of health that we are most likely to neglect, either to work or to scroll or for something else. A lot of people in this world suffer from not getting good sleep, and I was part of them. Some problems I was experiencing at that time when I wasn't getting enough sleep were lack of energy, getting angry easily, a complete lack of confidence and courage, feeling like an outcast, insecurity, low mood, depression, and anxiety. A lot of anxiety. The reason I was sacrificing my sleep was to work, but I would regularly fall asleep in the middle of a work session and I wouldn't be able to focus in class or when I'm studying by myself optimally. So, not only did I have a bad experience of life, I was also unproductive in work. I think most people already know how important sleep is for everything, but it just feels too difficult and confusing to go about fixing it. So, in this video, I want to create a checklist to make the process a whole lot simpler. The more boxes we tick in the checklist, the better our sleep will be. It will be that simple. Let's also go over the logic behind each of the habit on the checklist so that we can modify the habit to our own needs if we want to. So let's dive straight into it. Number one, give it time. The number of hours of sleep that each person needs varies. A small minority of people can get by with 6 or less than 6 hours of sleep, but since it is a small minority, we are probably not part of it. Most people, including myself, need around 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I work fine on 7. A common mistake we commit when we think about sleep is that we think if we give ourselves 7 hours in bed, lights out, then that translates to 7 hours of sleep. But it really doesn't. If you think about it, you take some time to fall asleep, and you may not remember it in the morning, but you do wake up in the middle of the night for no reason for short periods of time, and you might wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. So, after tracking my sleep using a fitness watch, I have found that I need to give myself 40 minutes more in bed than the amount of sleep I'm aiming for. So if I want 7 hours of sleep, I should give myself 7 hours and 40 minutes in bed. While I was a student in school, I used to give myself 7 hours and 30 minutes in bed. So I got around 6 hours and 50 minutes of sleep on which I can work functionally. On increasing the amount of sleep I got from 7 to 8, I didn't see that big of an improvement, and I think it was a smarter choice for me at least to invest that 1 hour into working rather than trying to increase my productivity by 2% or something. Well, if you are giving yourself enough time for sleeping, then one thing you should do to make sure that the sleep you're getting is of good quality is to make the time consistent. That is, go to bed at the same time every single night and wake up at the same time every single morning. This is the most important box you need to take in order to improve the quality of your sleep. What this does is it fixes your circadian rhythm, your inner clock. So you will start to feel sleepy automatically when it's your bedtime, and you will feel alert during the day and sleepy at night, like you're supposed to. Many people nowadays are wired in the opposite way. This practice of having a regular bedtime also has multiple health benefits and it trains your discipline. But we can't be expected to go to bed at the same time every single night for the rest of our lives, right? There will be special occasions, hangouts, sleepovers, and festivals, and so on. On those days, yeah, sure, go ahead and stay up late if you want to. What I do usually is the more I'm dedicating myself to my work, the more regular my sleep is usually. If I'm going all in on my endless preparation, then my sleep would be regular 100% of the time. If, for example, I'm on summer vacation, then it's more like 90%. Andrew Women recommends that you should have long and deep sleep at least 80% of the nights, but I wouldn't recommend you stay up all night every fifth day. That'd be bad, I'm pretty sure. Another thing you can do to fix your circadian clock is to become aware of your light intake. See, our brains didn't evolve with light bulbs. It's a pretty recent innovation. So when we see bright lights at night, our brain thinks it's daytime, so it stops the release of melatonin, the sleepiness hormone. So we should try to minimize bright lights as much as possible later in the day. If you are someone like me that works till bedtime, then you might want to consider working with dim lights if you won't fall asleep. I do fall asleep, so I work with regular lights and I turn on dim lights as soon as I'm finished work. And if you don't need devices for working, then you should try to avoid those at least 1 hour before sleep. And if you are using your devices, then reduce the brightness all the way down and turn on reading mode or blue light filter and increase the temperature all the way up. Watching the sunset can help fight against the negative impacts of bright light on your sleep. So if you watch the sunset, the impact of bright light is still considerable, but it is less than if you did it. Also, watching the sunrise is supposed to be hugely beneficial for your sleep. I don't know how it is affecting me, but here's what scientifically happens. When you watch the sun as soon as possible after waking up, your cortisol, the stress hormone, gets spiked. That means the cortisol, stress hormone, will be pretty low when it's eventually bedtime. Also, it sets off a timer for melatonin release, the sleepiness hormone. After 12 to 14 hours of you watching the sun, melatonin starts to get released, and that will cause you to feel sleepy, which is good. Usually, I am working early in the morning before the sun rises, so I don't usually watch the sun as soon as it rises. I finish working and then I go and watch the sun. On the topic of light intake, one more thing you should keep in mind is to keep your room as dark as possible when you are sleeping. It has been shown that even small sources of light can make it tougher for you to fall asleep and stay asleep. If you don't have curtains in your room and light seeps through, then you can get one of these sleep pads. I wouldn't recommend you get this one because it isn't comfortable. I would suggest you get one of the linen ones. Also, you should try to keep your room as cold as possible, at least in the first few hours of you sleeping. I don't think I need to go deep into how to keep your room cool, right? Another commonly given advice when it comes to sleep is to follow the 3-2-1 rule. 3 hours before sleep, don't eat anything because it can cause indigestion and make it uncomfortable for you to fall asleep. 2 hours before sleep, don't drink anything because you might need to wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. 1 hour before sleep, avoid devices as much as possible for the reasons we discussed earlier. If you are checking all the boxes so far, then you should be setting yourself up for a good night's sleep. Even I don't check all the boxes. I usually don't drink water 2 hours before sleep rule. I really should, and I think I'll work on that after I stop recording this video. Anyway, if you are ticking all the boxes so far, then you should be setting yourself up for a good night's sleep. But there are two things you can do to sabotage yourself. Number one, caffeine. Caffeine is 100% bad for your sleep. Again, there is a very small minority, a very small percentage of people that have a genetic advantage and their sleep is not affected negatively by caffeine. But for most people, for the vast majority, caffeine negatively impacts their sleep. Yeah, you might be able to fall asleep after drinking caffeine, but it severely negatively impacts your sleep. So avoid caffeine 12 hours before bed if you can. Another thing you can do is to stress yourself before bedtime. You should try to have a relaxing night routine. My night routine looks like saying goodnight to my family, filling my water bottle, brushing my teeth, and journaling. Journaling is the habit that calms me down. Then reading if possible before my bedtime. Do whatever that relaxes you. Maybe singing a song or playing an instrument or yoga or walking or breathing technique or journaling or reading. For me, it's journaling and reading that helps calm me down. Whatever, if it relaxes you, then it can be added to your night routine. If you do feel anxious or stressed out when it's near bedtime, then a breathing technique called the physiological sigh can really help you out. Here's how to do it. You take a deep breath, and once your lungs are almost full, you take one more short breath and then exhale the air out completely through your mouth slowly as if you're exhaling through a small straw. Looks weird, but trust me, this is the fastest way we know to shift your nervous system from a state of alertness and anxiety to a state of deep relaxation. Oh, one more thing, try to avoid anything that spikes your emotion too much, whether it be content on your devices or a difficult conversation with someone. Try to avoid all of that before going to bed. Now, that was the complete checklist on what all you should take in order to have a good night's sleep. I'll leave a link to the checklist in the description. I challenge you all and myself to increase the number of boxes we are ticking over the next few weeks or months. This will certainly improve our sleep. We have simplified the process a lot. The way to improve our sleep is to just increase the number of boxes we are taking. It's that simple. Now, if you found this video helpful, then be sure to like, because that will help me get this video to more people. Also hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content like this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts or questions down in the comments below. I will help in any way possible if needed down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.